Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing fantastic, I hope your summer's going great, and I hope you're ready. Because today we're diving into something that affects every single one of us. Global trade deals. Now I know what you're thinking, trade deals sound boring, right? But trust me, once you pull back the curtain, you'll see this is about far more than economics. This is about power, about survival, about how the United States has convinced millions of people they're winning deals, when in reality, they're just taxing their own citizens. And the craziest part? Most people have no clue. So, grab a coffee, buckle in, and let me take you through the reality behind all those headlines. If you go to Google right now and type, World Trade Deals or US Trade Deals, what do you see? Thousands of headlines, thousands of results. US signs new trade deal with Japan. Trump makes new deal with Indonesia. America strikes new trade pact. Click one. Anyone. What's it about? 9 times out of 10, it's just a tariff. That's it. A tax slapped onto imports. But the US government spins this as if it's a trade deal. The media regurgitates it, and the public swallows it. So instead of actual partnerships, instead of mutual agreements, we get taxation. That's not a deal. That's just a government squeezing its own people and rebranding it as some kind of masterstroke. Let's strip away the smoke. A tariff is just an import tax. Period. It's no different than sales tax or income tax. Sales tax, you buy something, you pay a percentage. Income tax, you earn money, you hand some of it over. Import tax, you bring something into the country the importer pays. Simple. But here's the trick, instead of calling it import tax, the US government calls it a tariff. Sounds exotic, right? Almost mysterious. And because so many people have never really heard the word before, politicians can flat out lie. We're putting tariffs on China. China's going to pay. Wrong. 100% wrong. China doesn't pay. Importers in the United States pay. And then what happens? They pass the cost on to, you guessed it, the American consumer. That's you, that's me. That's the grocery store prices, the electronics prices, the car prices. Everything goes up. But millions of Americans actually believe the lie. Think about that. Tens of millions convinced that tariffs punish foreign countries when in fact it's their own wallets being drained. Now imagine this. 50 million people, more than the population of many entire countries, truly believe tariffs are free money for America. Here's the part that really blows my mind. While America is busy slapping taxes on imports and calling them deals, the rest of the world is busy making actual deals. Let's take China, the supposed biggest victim of US tariffs. China's exports grew despite tariff turmoil. They pivoted to Africa, they pivoted to Asia, and their exports surged 7.2% in a single year. So while Americans were paying more at Walmart, China was quietly finding new customers and making new friends. Or look at Canada, America's closest neighbor. What actually happened? US tariffs slammed Canadian industries. So Canada pivoted. Canada signed new defense and security partnerships with the EU worth over $1 trillion. Canada struck a deal with Sweden for anti-aircraft systems. Canada partnered with Australia to develop an Arctic radar detection system, $6 billion. And here's a kicker. Greenland granted a Canadian company mining rights for critical minerals. While Washington is busy tweeting about taking Greenland, Canadian companies are actually cutting contracts and shipping minerals out. What about Mexico? Canada and Mexico already have a trade deal, the USMCA. But here's the twist, they're now talking about trading directly with each other, bypassing the United States altogether. Think about that. Two neighbors of America, two countries tied to the US economy for decades, now working on ways to trade around it. Port to port, airport to airport, cutting the middleman out. Donald Trump isn't a deal maker, he's a deal breaker. How do we know? Look at the numbers. Canadian visits to the US plunged 37% in 1 month. Cities like Seattle, Portland, Detroit, they're bleeding tourism revenue because Canadians just don't want to cross the border anymore. While the rest of the world is building bridges, America is burning them. Step back and look at the big picture. Every continent is pivoting away from the United States. China is deepening ties with Africa and Asia. Australia is leaning harder into Asia and Commonwealth allies. The EU is linking up with Africa, South America, and yes, Canada. This is a massive realignment. The world is making deals with each other while the US isolates itself behind tariffs and slogans. So the next time you Google world trade deals and see those headlines about America, remember, those aren't deals. Those are taxes dressed up as victories. But here's where it gets even darker. The US political machine is brilliant at one thing: repetition. Deal, 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 we're making a deal, it's a great deal, it's the best deal. 90 deals in 90 days. Say it enough times and the media repeats it. The media repeats it, Google ranks it. And suddenly the lie becomes the truth, at least for those who don't dig deeper. So here's my takeaway. The United States isn't making deals. It's making enemies. The US isn't building bridges, it's building walls. And while the rest of the world trades, invests and collaborates, America taxes its own people and tells them they're winning. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you think the US can turn this around, or is it already too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all and I'd love to know where you stand. And if you found this breakdown helpful, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth behind the headlines. Because the more we cut through the noise, the more people wake up to what's really happening. Thanks for watching, have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one.